Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic, it's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving AAU TV,
The voice of higher education in Africa.
GMT, and this is the AAU TV Mid-Week news coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. And to our top stories for today. University of Nairobi VC appointments spark controversy. And Nigeria launches food safety manual. Kim promised crown artist of the year. And Putin proposes fresh peace talks with Ukraine. Please stay with us for more news on the AAU TV Mid-Week News. My name is Jemima, Deladem, Dotsey. Welcome back from the break and to our news in detail. The appointment process for the next Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi has been uncertain following legal and administrative complications. Professor Bitanji Ndemo, Kenya's ambassador to Belgium and the EU, has withdrawn from the selection of the process, citing procedural irregularities. The Ministry of Education has stepped in, accusing the University Council of sidestepping required protocols. At the heart of the dispute are conflicting council decisions and questions around the ministerial approval. The situation has sparked concern among students and stakeholders who are calling for immediate clarification to ensure stability of the situation.
Nairobi is once again at the center of a leadership storm after Kenya's ambassador to Belgium and the European Union, Professor Bitanji Ndemo, withdrew from consideration for the Vice-Chancellor position, citing flawed and unclear appointment process. Ndemo's withdrawal follows a controversial move by the University Council, which on May 5th appointed Professor Francis Jakam Mullah as acting Vice-Chancellor without consulting the Ministry of Education. In a strongly worded letter dated May 9th, Principal Secretary for Higher Education, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala, declared the appointment illegal, saying it violated the Universities Act of 2012. She stated that the process did not adhere to Section 35, which requires ministerial concurrence for such appointments. According to Dr. Inyangala, these actions amount to a serious breach of governance and will not be condoned. She affirmed that Professor Margaret Jesam Murchison remains the acting Vice-Chancellor, with others still in acting roles, including Professor Ayub Gitao and Professor Francis Mullah in other deputy roles. Professor Indemo had reportedly sought confirmation from the council chair that legal procedures were being followed. When none came, he stepped aside, despite having topped the list of candidates recommended by the Public Service Commission. Many students had welcomed this brief appointment, saying the university has suffered from administrative instability. The institution has now seen 3 vice-chancellors in just 2 years following the expulsion of Professor Stephen Kiyama in late 2024. The education minister says corrective action will follow as the university's top seat remains in limbo.
Makerere University's acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Professor Bunyisa Mukadasi, has praised the strong Kenya-Uganda relations for boosting cross-border education. Over 1,000 East African students, mostly from Kenya, have joined Makerere in the past 2 years. The professor is now calling for regional support to address growing shortage of computers as demand for tech-related courses surge. He also emphasized the importance of continued East African cooperation to advance Pan-African ideals.
Makerere University is seeing a surge in students' enrollment from Kenya, a trend welcomed by the university's acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Professor Bunyisa Mukadasi. Speaking during a stopover at Isebanya for an annual academic bonding event, Professor Mukadasi applauded the close ties between Uganda and Kenya, saying this relationship has fueled an increase in cross-border education. Over the past 2 years, Makerere has admitted more than 1,000 students from across East Africa, with Kenya's forming the majority. He noted that Kenya's students tend to pursue programs in law, computer science, and international relations, unlike local students who largely opt for education degrees. However, the professor raised concerns over a growing digital gap. With over 37,000 students, many lack access to personal computers. Currently, just half the student body owns one, and the university's 106 lecturers must rely on personal laptops to conduct lab sessions and tutorials. Mukadasi expressed gratitude to the Church of Christ for donating computers, but called on more donors to step in, emphasizing the importance of shared responsibility in education. He urged East African countries to continue building academic cooperation, describing it as a pillar of Pan-African unity and progress.
In response to rising cases of foodborne illnesses, the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology has unveiled a new manual to help food security officers enforce hygiene standards. The move comes as global and local data highlights the deadly consequences of unsafe food practices. Authorities are targeting informal food vendors, restaurants, and markets, urging the use of licensed professionals to tackle what experts say is a public health emergency. Over 420,000 deaths globally are linked to contaminated food each year, with children under 5 at risk.
The Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology has launched a comprehensive food safety manual aimed at guiding officers across the country in regulating hygiene, particularly in street food and local markets. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, CEO Veronica Eze emphasized that unsafe food practices are silently taking lives more dangerously than armed robbery. She explained that life-threatening conditions like liver cirrhosis, kidney failure, and even cancer are increasingly being linked to contaminated food and poor handling practices. Eze called the unsafe food era criminal and unethical and said only licensed food professionals should be trusted with food safety oversight. She urged local councils to begin hiring qualified personnel to enforce food standards at the grassroots level. The launch comes as the World Health Organization warns that nearly 1 in 10 people globally fall ill annually from unsafe food. With 420,000 deaths, 125,000 of them children under 5. Representing the Health Minister, Diola Olofowobi Yusuf, said foodborne illnesses account for up to 20% of hospital admissions in Nigerian cities, severely impacting national development. Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Unanji, through a representative, described the manual as a turning point. He said the ministry is supporting ongoing training, digital education for vendors, and alignment with the global food safety standards. Officials agree it's time to put the manual into action and take food safety from policy to practice.
Please stick with us for Discovery News after the break.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome back from the break and to our Discovery story. A quiet revolution is brewing in Uganda's coffee hills, where Mirinda Nandudu's Bayaya specialty coffee is transforming the lives of women farmers. By offering slightly higher prices for beans delivered by women, the initiative has not only empowered over 600 female growers, but also helped reduce gender-based violence in Sironko district. Nandudu's women-led model is fostering economic independence and social change. The effort comes as Uganda cements its position as Africa's second largest coffee producer, with exports topping $1.3 billion last year.
In the highlands of eastern Uganda, a bold idea is taking root in the world of coffee and is being led by women. Mirinda Nandudu, founder of Bayaya Specialty Coffee, has grown her group from just a few dozen women in 2022 to over 600 today. Her strategy? Paying a small premium 200 Ugandan shillings more per kilogram when coffee is delivered by a woman. This simple incentive has shifted household dynamics in Sironko districts, where women have long done the labor but had little say in the profits. Nandudu says it's the women who plant, weed, harvest, pulp, ferment, and wash the beans, but men often show up only to sell. That imbalance inspired her to give women a financial stake. The result? Families are now discussing sales together, and reports of gender-based violence during harvest season are down. Uganda exported more than 6 million bags of coffee between 2023 and 2024, earning $1.3 billion, according to the Uganda Coffee Development Authority. But in Sironko, the value of coffee goes beyond numbers. It's becoming a vehicle for empowerment. For Juliet Kwaga, the change is personal. She recalls a time when her mother was left out of all coffee business decisions. Today, Juliet earns her own income, buys food, and pays school fees without relying entirely on her husband. And her story now is shared by hundreds of others. Coffee prices have climbed from just over $2 to $5 per kilo over the past decade. And with added incentives, women now walk miles to Nandudu's collection centers several times a week. In Mbali, Bayaya's urban roasting facility is mostly run by women. A sign, Nandudu says, more women are finally seeing coffee not just as work, but as business. As Uganda eyes more global markets, it's clear that women are no longer just behind the beans. They are helping lead the industry forward.
Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has made history by breaking the record for the most goal involvement in the single 38-game Premier League season. The Egyptian scored 28 goals and registered 18 assists to help the Reds clinch the league title. His performance also earned him a third Football Writers Association Player of the Year. receiving 90% of votes from over 900 journalists, the largest winning margin this century. Salah recently extended his contract with Liverpool until 2027.
Mohamed Salah has once again etched his name into Premier League history. With 28 goals and 18 assists, the Egyptian talisman played a pivotal role in Liverpool's title-winning campaign, setting a new record for the highest goal involvement in a 38-game season. His impact wasn't limited to domestic competition. Salah also netted 3 goals and assisted 4 others as Liverpool reached the Champions League round of 16. At 32, Salah has shown no signs of slowing down, recently signing a new 2-year deal to remain at Anfield until 2027. The Football Writers Association has recognized his brilliance, awarding him Player of the Year for the 3rd time, a feat matched only by Thierry Henry. Salah secured a commanding 90% of the votes, with teammates Virgil van Dijk finishing second and Newcastle's Alexander Isak and Arsenal's Declan Rice following behind.
Terminator hitmaker King Promise emerged as Artist of the Year at the 2025 Telecel Ghana Music Awards held at Grand Arena of the Accra International Conference Center. He topped a competitive field including Stonebwoy, Black Sherif, Joe Metal, and King Promise, and also secured 3 other awards on the night. King Paluta won Most Popular Song of the Year with Aseda, while gospel legend Yao Sapon was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. The event features tailored performances and celebrated a cross-section of Ghana's finest musical talent.
It was a night of gliss, glamour and musical celebration at the Grand Arena as King Promise claimed the coveted Artist of the Year award at the 2025 Telecel Ghana Music Awards. The Terminator star outshone competition from industry heavyweights to secure the top honor, along with wins for Best Afro-Pop Song, Best Afro-Pop Afrobeat Song, and Album EP of the Year. King Paluta's Asida took home the award for Most Popular Song, while other big winners included Stonebwoy, Empress Gifty, Kofi Kinata, and Tulinke. The night also paid tribute to gospel veteran Yao Sapon, who received a Lifetime Achievement Award for his decades of service to Ghanaian music. Opening with the performance by Ayisi, the show saw captivating acts from Daughters of Glorious Jesus, Kili, Team Eternity Ghana, and more, marking another memorable chapter in the celebration of Ghana's rich musical talent.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aauLMS@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Nigeria's Senate has approved 4 key tax reform bills aimed at increasing government revenue and restructuring fiscal administration. The bills, which include a proposed rise in VAT from 7.5% to 12.5% by next year, are part of President Bola Tinubu's broader economic reform agenda. Despite criticism from within his own party over the potential impact on Nigeria's facing economic hardship, the Senate endorsement marks a significant win for Tinubu's administration. The reform also includes amendments to the oil law, transferring some revenue collection duty to the proposed Nigeria Revenue Service. The bills will now undergo reconciliation with the House of Representatives version before being sent to the presidential assent.
Nigeria is moving closer to implementing sweeping tax reforms after the Senate passed 4 major bills aimed at boosting government revenue. The approval follows earlier passage by the House of Representatives and now awaits reconciliation between the 2 chambers. Among the reforms is a proposed hike in value-added tax from 7.5% to 12.5%, set to take effect next year. The measures, part of President Bola Tinubu's fiscal overhaul, has faced internal opposition, including from lawmakers and governors within the ruling party. The Senator's decision signals strong political momentum for the reforms. Still, the Senate's decision signals strong political momentum for the reforms. Senator Sani Musa, who chaired the reviewing committee, noted that the changes will amend Nigerians' law by shifting from revenue collection responsibilities, such as petroleum profit tax and royalties, to the newly proposed Nigeria Revenue Service. With one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios globally, Nigeria has long depended on borrowing to support its budget. The tax reforms are seen as a crucial step towards achieving a more sustainable and efficient revenue system.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed a return to direct peace talks with Ukraine, offering to meet in Istanbul on May 15th without preconditions. The proposal comes in response to mounting international pressures from European leaders and the US, who have jointly urged Moscow to accept an unconditional 30-day ceasefire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the gesture but insists that negotiations can only begin once a full temporary ceasefire is in place. While some Moscow residents reacted with caution to Putin's proposal, leaders including Turkey's President Erdogan are calling for this pivotal moment in effort to end the war.
In a potential turning point in the ongoing conflict, Russian President Vladimir Putin has offered to restart direct peace talks with Ukraine, this time without preconditions. Speaking to reporters early Sunday, President Putin suggested Istanbul as the venue for negotiations on May 15. His proposal comes amid growing international pressure. 4 major European powers, France, the UK, Germany and Poland, have called for an unconditional 30-day ceasefire, a move supported by US President Donald Trump, who described the day as potentially great for both countries. Moscow residents, however, reacted with restraint. Some expressed doubt that Ukraine would agree to talks without conditions. Others fear that even if talks begin, they might not lead to the resolution unless President Zelensky fully commits to ending the war. President Zelensky responded via social media, calling Putin's proposal a positive sign, but emphasized that no meaningful negotiation can begin without an immediate and total ceasefire. Meanwhile, on the ground, Russia resumed drone attacks in Ukraine after a self-imposed 3-day pause expired, raising fresh concerns about the sincerity of the offer for peace. Turkey's President Erdogan, in a call with French President Emmanuel Macron, said his country stands ready to host immediate negotiations, calling this a historic turning point. As the world watches closely, hopes rise that this latest diplomatic push might finally open the door to a lasting peace.
That is all for the AAU TV Midweek News, and we'll take a quick recap of our top stories. In higher education, University of Nairobi VC appointments spark controversies. And then Nigeria launches food safety manual. Kim Promise crowned Artist of the Year. And Putin proposes fresh peace talks with Ukraine. Now, thanks for sticking with us on the AAU TV Midweek News. You can also get interactive with us on our social media platforms, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Jemima Deladem. Have a lovely day.